Wearing the silver fern was the pinnacle of my career, and it meant everything to me. I'm Edie Webber, and I was born and bred in southern Hawke's Bay in a place called Dannyburg, and I played here for some years and then went to North Harbour where I played and coached.
I'm Shirley Eddy, and I know Edie from our involvement together with the Hawke's Bay team. We played in the Hawke's Bay team for quite some time, where there was a lot of good friendship and conviviality, and it still lives on.
You all got on, and we did a lot of fundraising together.
Did a lot of fundraising.
Things like that.
Yeah.
So we're always working with each other and for each other.
And we had at the pivotal place was Tom Turbot, who created that because he was so devoted to the team. It was his life as well. And he encouraged us to live a lifestyle of good eating, keeping fit,
I always said,
companionship.
I always say now that we came through in the best of times. We worked hard. Most of us were working or raising families. So we worked hard, we played hard, we trained hard, and we socialised hard. So, we came through in the best of times, didn't we?
I was thinking the other day, I have to say, part of the training schedule was on a Sunday morning, about once a month, we had a 12-minute test, and around Mariwa Park, which was, I'm not sure quite how far it was, Edie, but anyway, we had to see how far we could get around in 12 minutes, and then you got that measurement. It didn't matter how far it was. You knew you got to that post or that tree the last time, and you tried to get further the next time. But that was very difficult if you'd been out on Saturday night. And so sometimes the tree would have somebody underneath going, ooh. So just a few, not all of us.
No, that's right.
There were some who liked to socialise a bit more than the others.
Yes, the Chunder group. But we did a lot of things together. And
every Sunday was a long run, wasn't it?
And
everybody had to be there to do it. And some were serious about it, and others suffered it and just did it, and were working on building their fitness. Yeah.
I mean, we trained. Some of us trained with Tom
during
Monday
the week.
Through Thursday. The number of people who came from other provinces who had aims at getting into the New Zealand team, and they'd come to Hawke's Bay to experience Tom Turbott's coaching, so that they could get fit and learn the skills and he had moves way ahead of his time and things like this that we practiced. That's what we had to have. You may have talent, but you've got to have the will, the want,
and
aspiration.
Someone who believes in you as well.
Yep.
I can remember at a training session, Tom's daughter was a very good hockey player and played for New Zealand too. And I can remember we used to train a lot together because I had the time when I had young children. And I can remember one day he said, give me 4 years and you can play for New Zealand. And so I said, what? But he believed in me, so why wouldn't I? Because eventually I got the job of being New Zealand coach. And when that happened, I was just reminiscing about how difficult it was, and it probably is still today, for coaches to have your players scattered all around, not like in Europe where they're just over the fence, And anyway, all of my correspondence was by hand, handwritten, and I used to have make carbon copies, and I had found this big thick wad of letters that I'd sent to all the players to keep in touch with them about their training and what the expectations were, what the plan was when we were going to meet again and all that sort of thing. And it was entirely my job to do that, in conjunction with New Zealand, of course, but I didn't get any direction from them. And so we used to just send suggestions about what I wanted to do, and so there was letters to them and letters to all the players on a regular, on a regular basis, which was very time consuming because I was teaching at the time and had little kids and stuff. So, but I'm thinking about now how much easier it must be.
When you've got them together for a length of time.
Yeah.
And you can communicate via face to face on media.
On a regular basis. I mean, even with the for the 1980s Olympic team, the communication with them was the same, basically. I was lucky because I had 5 players from Hawke's Bay who I could work with and build what I wanted to convey to the others.
And of course then we didn't go. It was the Olympics when Russia invaded Afghanistan, so we boycotted.
But the good thing about that...
We got a neat tour.
Yes, we were. I don't know about other sports, but I don't think other athletes had an opportunity to go somewhere and perform. Maybe they did, but we were lucky that New Zealand organised that.
What was it like travelling and representing New Zealand?
Fun. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved every minute of it, excepting for my first tour, and we stayed in a hotel in Sydney. And, and all our meals, we had to work out our own meals. We played all the state teams and whatever. And all I wanted in the end, and we'd go out for a meal at night. And for a little country person, I got totally sick of that. All I wanted was a poached egg on toast, thank you very much. But no, it was fun. And again, you had some characters in your team. Oh gosh, some entertainment.
I think, yes.
Don't know how it was for the coach.
It was fine. You learn to cope with all the variations when you're on tour of different things. The one thing I do remember was when we had the New Zealand team in Canada and we played against the United States and they beat us quite well. And they came off and they said, "We creamed you," you know.
Oh gosh, that stuck in the craw.
That just really made us angry because we were like the country cousins.
But then we found out that what we considered cheating, they had people sitting in the bleachers around the field.
And in each corner, the cameras.
With the walkie-talkies, getting messages out to the players. We thought that was because all teams do that now.
And the other thing, of course, like I can remember when I travelled as coach, I just had a manager and that was it. Mm. And, it's a pretty lonely job when you've not got some other support from people who are on the side observing the game. But I found people like Pat Barwick and Jenny Mack, I call her, Jenny Bint, were experienced players and I was able to talk a lot with them as captains But it was interesting, and now, of course, we had a physio in the latter years, but there was usually just 3 officials that travelled with the team.
But you had a lot of fun, and I know with Shirley as our coach, you encouraged fun. We were able to have fun, and so And
when you say, how do you feel? Well, obviously, I had to declutter my house and I had all this memorabilia and it's precious to me. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do with because I'm proud of all the things that I've achieved. I don't tell everybody. I don't think I even tell my family. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to
get rid of it.
Throw it in the dump. I've got photos and things that obviously my family might keep. But it's just hard to know how it affects the other people around you. Yeah. They all contributed and give us a chance to be part of a New Zealand team and the opportunities. I mean, I have to thank my husband and my mother-in-law who used to look after my kids when I went overseas.
We weren't expected to go places with sport. You played, you did a bit of sport and jolly old sticks and everything else. But when my mother taking me aside when I was about 21, I suppose, and she says, "Look, you need to
Get your act.
Get your act together, yes. A supporter's not going to support you when you get older, and it won't bring you a family. I always had ambitions. I can remember watching Peter Snell, Murray Halberg, 1960 60 Olympics, Rome, I think I've got that right, 60-64, and watching the gold medals, and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful to go to the Olympics? And I used to set out a training track. I don't know how I measured it out, I probably didn't, in amongst the thistles up on the paddock, and train and run around there. And my brother was into training because he was a Hawke's Bay rugby player, and I used to train with him. I used to go so far, and he'd say, right, you stop here, and he'd take his cigarettes out of his pocket, and he'd say, you look after them, and I'd have one while I waited for him to come back.
Shame, Edie.
It must have been quite gutting then to have qualified in 1980 and not got to go. What was that like?
For me, it was, because I'd given up my job, and I was teaching up in North Harbour. And I'd come back to Hawke's Bay to work with Shirley, and I really had sacrificed for it, and I was really disappointed.
I was looking around the pavilion yesterday, and there's a large number of jerseys and photos up there, and I guess it all sort of stems from that era, the 70s, 60s era is the sort of where it sort of started to... What does it mean to be sort of part of that legacy when you see all those...
Fantastic. Fantastic,
Yeah,
eh?
it's a good
it's
feeling.
I'm going goosebumpy just thinking about it now.
It's a good feeling.